What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Now, as 99.9% of you are aware, I am the owner of a Mark IV Megane trophy. And I thought I'd do this video today as a kind of like a recommendations video. My top 5 things that I recommend for you to do to your Mark IV Megane if you already have one or are looking to get one in the near future. So let's jump into it. So before we get into today's video, make sure you like, share and subscribe as you always do, and click the bell notification to find your way back, as there is a massive amount of you guys that are still not subscribed, even though it's free. Anyway, on to the first thing. In no particular order, I would say a remap. Now, remap, again, like I spoke about in a previous video on my Clio, isn't for everyone. But if you're watching this video, obviously you're looking into modifying your Mark IV platform, whether it be a 2.8 or a trophy. So yeah, I think overall, the best bang for your buck would be a remap, because you get good gains from it. It's still, you don't specifically need supporting mods. Obviously supporting mods could hold you back, especially if you're going to be taking it on track or anything like that. But I would say overall a remap is the one to go for. Like I say, good gains for not a lot of money, and the car is totally woken up. Like, I'll leave my video for you guys to check out there if you want to see the remap video. So yeah, before the map, the car made 290 brake horsepower and just under 330 foot-pounds on K-Tex dyno, and then after the remap made 320 odd horsepower and then made 360 foot-pounds. So not a big gain in numbers, but a huge gain in performance. I'll leave the graph up for you guys to see now. Obviously, as you guys know, probably if you're looking into this, you know it's not just about the number, it's about how it does it, how quickly it does it, and for how long for. So as you can see by the graph, obviously it pulls a lot harder through every gear at all ranges. So remap. Next up, my recommendation for you guys is spacers. Now, if you're looking to get an aftermarket wheel, obviously that completely blows us out the water. It's not going to be relevant to some degree because you can get a more aggressive offset. But if you're looking at a fairly cheap way to make your car look more aggressive, then spacers are the one. I went 16mm all round on mine, and I'll leave a link for that up here for you guys to check out. But 16mm eye-back spacers with an extended stud and nut conversion. But the stance of the whole car changed drastically. It's night and day. I'll put the picture up for you can see side by side. This was before the wheels were satin black as well, obviously. But side by side, the difference is huge. It's one of those things, like, you know, the car's very wide standard. Like, well, I remember the day it drove up outside and I was like, Jesus, that's a wide car. But when you feel the arches, it's just even more demanding, especially on the road. Like, the amount of people that look at it just being like, you know, you see them rubbernecking in the mirror when you look or whatever, and just a lot of people don't see them. But obviously, where like I've filled the arches now with the spacer, again, like I said before, that's a temporary measure until I get, because I want to drop down to an 18 eventually and then get a more aggressive offset. But we'll look at that in the near future. But cheap, very easy mod to fit, spacers. That's my recommendation. Now, something that goes hand in hand with spacers, lowering springs. I'm on the Cooksport lowering springs, and I found them to be very, very close to standard feel, but obviously with the lower aesthetic, and obviously, like I mentioned previously, the spacers. Alongside the spacers and the lowering, it just transforms the car completely. It looks even wider, it looks even more fierce, like when you see it coming down the road and stuff. Like, I'll put some pictures up for you guys to see now, if you haven't seen already. But for those of you that haven't, obviously, like I say, the spacers with the lowering, I think the Cooksports go about 30mm, something like that. I'm not quite sure, but obviously springs settle over time or whatever. But it's just enough to bring the car down, and obviously with the spacers bringing filling the arches a bit more as well. The car just looks completely different. So as a pair, I'd say those two, but on its own in this number 3, the lowering springs. Lowering springs are also a great upgrade for if you're looking to, like I say, get that lower aesthetic, but try and stay as pure as possible to the standard ride feel of the car without being too crashy and too bumpy. Next on the list, I've got front splitter, or Maxton splitter. I'm running the Maxton V1 on mine, but I think this car just needs a front splitter. I know the Trophy R comes with a small one, and I've seen there's not many on the market at the moment, but I know there's a couple like Dan at RSS. He does his own front splitter. I've got the Maxton V1, and I'm not really sure anyone else really. So the choices are few and far between, but this car benefits so much from the front splitter. When I've dropped the car in at Renault before and stuff, the boys have just been like, this should just be standard. So I think the front splitter is, obviously if you're prepared to attach something to your car like a body trim part, then this is perfect. And like I say, it's not too low that it scrapes on everything. Obviously you have to bear things in mind if you're lowered like I am. You have to just bear in mind that speed bumps might be a bit of a challenge. But yeah, the Maxton front splitter I found is perfect because it follows the body lines perfectly. And it's obviously super easy to fit. I did a little installation guide if you guys want to check that out up there as well. But yeah, obviously you can source those from many places. Maxton, there's many websites that stock them. Obviously Maxton themselves, where I got mine from, was K-Tech Racing and stuff like that. So yeah, front splitter I think is a definite must, because especially seeing as the car comes with like these little side trim skirts standard already, I think the front splitter alongside that just really sets the whole thing off. And I'm not really a fan of the rear spats anyway. So now, last but certainly not least, the air intake. Now again, this might not be everyone's cup of tea, but there's obviously so many different variations of things you can do to get that little bit more excitement under the engine bay, because obviously I'm talking obviously only from a 300 Trophy point of view, because I don't know what a 280 sounds like standard. So the 300 comes with a valved exhaust, so on sport and race it does sound fruitier, but the car's got little to no induction noise, anything like excitement wise going on under the bonnet. So I obviously opted in for the K-Tech Racing air intake. Now obviously that comes in a housed box with the foam filter and the relocation for like the MAF sensor and stuff like that as well. So it's all a lovely bit of kit, and everything is as it should be, and it's like I say, it's very well made, and it gives you that little bit of noise. Now, obviously, if you're planning to remap the car, this would be advised that you do it beforehand, because you probably will see a little bit of gains, not without a map. When you go to get the car mapped, obviously, if you've got a couple of supporting mods, then you will gain a little bit more. But yeah, the air intake obviously means that, like I say, especially for a 300 Trophy, they do make a fairly decent noise standard, and obviously the air intake paired alongside that means that there's a bit more going on, and it makes you feel like you're driving a turbo car a little bit more, because a lot of these modern cars, especially like I know the Trophy's got a GPF in it, so like obviously OPF, GPF, whatever it's called, in the exhaust system. So the exhausts are quite kind of dilute in normal modes. So sport obviously opens that up, but they've got no resonator or anything in them, so they do make a fairly decent noise. But yeah, the air intake to go alongside that, like I say, just add a bit more excitement to the engine bay side of things, and you'll get some occasional nice little flutters as well, and especially if you're looking to remap it. So I'm going to end the video there, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Any of you guys have any questions or whatever, get at me in the comments as per usual, or over on my Instagram, which I'll leave down below for you guys. But yeah, this was just a little video for you Mark IV owners, or potential up and coming Mark IV owners that are thinking to change their car, whether it may be visually or performance or just sound. So there's a little bit of something on there for everyone. So like, share and subscribe as you always do. Hit the bell notification to find your way back so you don't miss any future uploads. Catch you in the next one. Peace.